UV done, and now it is time for us to start texturing. And we're going to do this in Maya. Most of the times, everyone who makes use of Maya, they go into Substance Painter to texture because Substance Painter it's more powerful for texturing and it's made for texturing. Okay, now we're going to do this inside of Maya. So first, we're just going to let's go back into the modeling standard, which is what we have been working before. No, not the modeling. Go to general, which is what we've been working before. All right. So now what we are going to do is to pick the colors of this, or maybe we can just eyeball it and try to see if we can get something close to it. So what we are going to use is what we call the hypershade in Maya. So to get over to the hypershade, you have two options of doing that. You can come over to this part here that says display hypershade window, or you can go to window and you go to rendering editors and you can get the hypershade here. Click on that and open the hypershade here. Now from here, you can use this to apply any texture you want to apply to any particular you can apply to any particular object you have in your scene. So first we're going to work on this on the wall. Now since we're going to be rendering with Anode, we're going to be making use of the AI standard surface. Now if you look at this part here from the hypershade, you're going to get materials here. And also you're going to get some options here that you can use for materials, and right here you're going to get your materials, and at the top here you are going to get the materials that is currently applied to the object in your scene. Those are the materials you're going to get, and any materials we create here, we're going to have all those materials here too as well. So the first thing we need to do is to create material for this wall, and to do that we're just going to come to this part here and we're going to hit the tab here and we're going to type AI standard surface, or you can just from here go to Anode shaders and you can just look for the one that says AI standard surface and you can click on that. So whichever one that works for you, you're just going to use it. So I'm just going to delete that. Let's just type this. I don't know why that is not removing. So let's just say AI standard surface, which is this one. So I can just select this, select this and delete, and we have these two here. Now from here, this is the node that applied this to your object, and why this node is what you can use to edit your colors or whatever it is you want to do. So right here you can see that we have the base color, we have melanin, we have melanin redness, we have melanin randomized, we have roughness, specular, and so on and so forth. Now you don't need to understand all these at first. You just need to get started with applying colors. I can't really say texture. Of course we're going to call this texture. You just need to get started with applying textures in Maya. Now if this is a situation where you have textures, you can just quickly import the textures here. Now let's say you texture in Substance Painter, and let's say when you texture in Substance Painter you want to apply this on your model in Maya. You have to import all those textures here from your hypershade, one after the other, or you have other options to do that. But if you want to do that directly from the hypershade, you're going to make use of the AI standard surface depending on the renderer you're going to be making use of. If you're going to be making use of Android, you definitely go into export from Substance Painter as an Anode AI standard, and that is where you're going to export as. And now when you get into Maya, the first thing you need to do is to add the AI standard surface, and you can just rename this from here. So we're going to rename this to wall, and we're going to hit on enter. That is going to rename this to wall 2. I don't know why, so we're just going to keep this here. Now in case, or if you want to make use of pictures as your textures that you export from Substance Painter, you're going to get all these things from here. Now you need to add another node and that node you are going to add, you can just come down here, hit on tab and hit on file, and you're just going to get this file texture. And when you add, you're going to get this node from here. So now, depending on how you want to arrange your own texture in the hypershade, that is how you are going to do it. So for you to import your texture, you just need to select on this one here, and you can also rename that. You can just double click here and rename it, that is if you want to. But now you can just click here, and when you click here, you're going to get these options here, and you can also get this from your attribute editor. So this is just like your attribute editor here. Now you can just look for the image from here. You can see that image name, so you can click here and you can use this to browse or find where you have the textures. It's either PNG or JPEG or whatever file format you have, and now you can just select that and open it, and when you open it, it's going to apply here, and you can just connect the node, which is the output color, down here to the base color. Now if you want to repeat this, you can see nothing happened here because we don't have anything attached here, so we're just going to leave that way for now. Now if you want to start adding others, like you have the base color, you have the roughness map, you have the metallic map, you have the height, and so on. Now you can just also hit on tab and increase file and go down to texture again, and you can just bring all this. Now keep in mind, this place to the texture node, you don't need to have this on every file node you're going to create in your hypershade. You can just select this one and delete it. You can make use of this particular node for all the image textures you are going to be importing in your scene. And how are you going to do that? You can just easily middle mouse click, drag this part here and connect it here. Let me hold down control, middle mouse click and drag this and connect it there, and that is going to connect. And you can also just connect this part here and connect it to this part here. So let me just cut all this. All right, now you can just left click, drag this and connect it to this part, the UV code. Out UV goes to the UV code. And this one here, when you click and drag, it's not just going to come, so you need to hold down control and middle mouse click and drag this and place it here, and that is going to place it right there. Now in order for you not to repeat the process of doing this, when you hit on tab and you find the file to the textures, you click it here. For you not to get all these and start deleting these and so on, you can just highlight everything. Let's highlight just these two and delete them. You can now select one of these one here and go to edit and go down to duplicate, and you can duplicate shading with network, which is this one here, or you can just duplicate without network. So if you click shading with network, it's going to duplicate with this node as well, but you don't need that node, so you're just going to delete that. Now you can just select it and go to edit, duplicate without network, and you're going to get this here. Now you can import whatever file you want to import there, and when you're done, you're just going to hook them or pin them to the main. You're just going to connect them to whatever it is they represent. If it's for the roughness, you're just going to connect it for roughness. You're just going to drag the alpha and connect it to the roughness. For metalness, you're just going to drag the alpha again and you're going to connect it to the there should be metalness here, and I can't find that right now, but there is here. Now we're not going to do that because we're not texturing. And in case where you want to connect things like your bump map and so on, I guess we're going to cover that some other time, so we're not going to focus on that. So we're just going to highlight all this, and let's just disconnect this and also disconnect this. We can just highlight everything here and delete. We don't need them, so we can just focus on this one. So we're going to click here that says the base color, and now you can see we already have file here, so we mess up this shader already, so we're just going to highlight this and we're going to delete it. And now we're just going to hit tab and say AI. Let's just highlight everything and delete that. So we're going to say AI standard surface and going to click on that. It's going to create a new shader here for us. So the base color here is just purple. So we're going to click on this one. Let's first of all double click on it and name that to wall. And of course, it's going to add another weird name there, or wall 2. And now we can just select this here and come down to the color, click on this color here. If it's where you have the color code, you can just go down here. You can just input the color code from here, but we don't have it. So we're going to come down to this part here and we're just going to look for the purple. That's not purple. Yeah, so we'll come down to, yeah, this part here, and we can select this purple. So now you can play with the roughness and the methodness, so you can see it from here. If you want it to be shiny, you can make it shiny from here. So I think I'm just go for something not too shiny, something like this. And now you can look for the methodness, which is right here. And you can also, if you really want to make it shiny, that is, you're going for something like can and so on, you can really make it shiny from here. So I'm just going to reduce the methodness to something like this, and this is just all what we are going to cover. There is nothing more we want to do here. So now you can see that we have not applied this to our wall. To apply this to our wall, we need to go into our viewport, select this wall, and now we'll go into our hypershade again, and we're going to right click on that texture we just created, and we're going to set it to assign material to selection. And when you click on that, you're going to see it here, and it has applied. Now, if when you applied this to your model, you did not see the texture or you did not see the color, you want to hit the number 6 key on your keyboard to go into the shaded mode so that you will be able to see it right here. So now we're done with the wall. We can just go for the curtain, which is, let's try to move this. I don't like making my hypershade small, so let's try to go for the curtain, which is something like this. Now you can just hit here to create a new where is that? We can just click here. There is a place we can click to create a new network. So let's quickly see. So we can just clear the graph from here to create another one, but don't worry, we have this one here already. So you can just right click on it and hit on graph network, and it is going to bring that back for you. So we're going to clear that. Now we're going to add another. So we're going to hit on tab, AI standard surface. So we select this, and now we're going to name this to curtain. Hit on enter, and that is actually going to name it to curtain 2. And we're going to select this node, and right here, let's take a look at the curtain color. So that is what we have. So we're going to select this, and then let's go for something a little bit, let's see. Let's go for something cream, something close to cream, and let's see. But this is way too dark, so I think I'm going to, that's too yellowish, so let's go out a bit. I think let me make use of this slider here. Okay, so let's bring this out, bring this up here. This is a little bit, oh, we're moving over to the grain. So I think we can just work with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can go ahead and try yours. Now we can just select that, and this is cloth, so we don't need to have anything like shine or so on. So the methodness set to 0, and we'll come down to the roughness, and we can just increase the roughness so that we don't have that much of a shine to it. Okay, now we'll go into our viewport, and we go look for, we just select this one, hold on shift, select this one here, and now we can just look for the curtain material from here, and we're going to right click and assign material to selection, and of course it's going to be assigned right here. And now you can see all these is a tricky somehow. You can see that at the front we have a different color, and at the top we also have a different color, so as the TV and all those ones right there. Now it is very simple to do, and we're also going to do that. So let's go back here. So the chair is basically one color, but just the shadow we have on it to make some side dark and to make some side lighter. That is just the difference there. So we're going to look at the wood at the top. So I think this is a little bit white, so we're not going to assign that to be white. Now we're going to clear this, and we'll come down here, and we're going to just click from here. You can just click from here and hit on AI standard surface, and now we can just double click on this, and what we're going to name it to cutting, and we can just say breeze, hit on enter, and from here, let's just see, this is white, so we can just click here, and then it's white. Yeah, it's just white. So we can just make it a little bit darker, but still the same color. Or we can just make it more white, which is this. And now we can just leave it that way. Now it's supposed to be more like a meta, so we can increase the metaness just a little bit. And the roughness, let's take the roughness down so that we have this kind of reflection on it. So now we're going to our viewport, we're going to select this, and now let's select the curtain breeze, which is this, and we're going to right click, assign material to selection, and we're going to have it right here. Now you might not be able to see all this shine and so on we are adding so far. That is because we don't have any light in our scene, and we're actually going to work on that later. So we did not create something like this, or we did not create a full window. We just create something crazy right there. So we're just going to work with the window just like that. So we're going to create another AI standard surface. So we can just close this so that we get a lot of room here. So now we can just hit on tab and AI standard surface. You can just make use of the arrow keys and just bring it down and select it. And now we're just going to double click on this and name that to window breeze. Hit on enter. We're going to drag this here. We'll go over to the base color, and this is going to be a little bit brownish, so we can work with this brown. I think, yeah, this brown, it's good. We have this kind of a brown, and that it's not going to be, we don't need anything methaness, and we don't need roughness because that is wood. And let's increase the roughness. Yeah, something like this is fine. I don't just want to lose all the whole reflection. So now we're going to select this from our viewport. I'm going to come down here, right click, and assign material to selected, and we're going to have this there. Now while we are in that particular color, we can also assign this to all these other colors here, but I think it's going to be too dark, so we don't need to assign that. So we're just going to leave it that way. Now we're going to just clear this graph again, and we're going to create another one. So now let's work on these that have different colors on it. So we can just come down here, and we're going to hit on tab and just type in regular AI standard surface, and we're going to drag this down here, just like that. And we're going to name this. So what I'm going to do here, since I'm going to be applying this color to multiple objects in my scene, so I'm going to name this to brown wood 1. Hit on enter. This is for the wood. And now we can just come down to the color here, and we're going to select this color. That is going to be our starting point, and we're going to increase the brightness a bit. Okay, let's make it desaturated, and I think this is okay. And for the roughness and the metalness, I'm going to leave it that way. Or let me increase the roughness a bit because this is wood. Okay, now what we are going to do is to select this. We can also select this one and select this one. Now also select this one and this and this. we're going to select all of them, and we'll come down to this part here, brown wood 1. We're going to right click, assign material to selection, and it is going to assign it to all the objects we select in our scene. But now, these front parts, they are more darker, so we need to create something like that. So we're going to clear this, and we're going to create another shader, which is the same AI standard surface, and we're going to select this, and this time we're going to name it. Did I name that wood? Okay, so we're going to name this to brown wood 2. I don't know if I named that wood 2 or wood 1. All right, that is correct. Who did this idiot now? Okay, now we're just going to select this and select this, click here. I'm going to select this color and just make it a little bit darker, just like that. All right, now this is what we are going to do. We have it here. This is what we are going to do. I'm going to take this hyper shade into another screen for now, and we're going to zoom in to all these objects, and you can just select one first, and you're going to hit on Control 1 to isolate it. Now you right click, go into the face mode. All these faces that have all those things, you can just select the faces. You can't tell if they have been selected, but of course they have been selected. Now for you to be sure, you can just select them, and now go into your hyper shade again and look for it, which is this one, brown wood 2. Now you can just right click and assign material to selection, and when you click off, you can see that it is more darker than what we have here. So you can just repeat this process. Let's just make sure we have only this. So we're going to select this. And we really can't see this very well because of, you can also turn off the shaded mode. Of course, we're still in shade mode, but I don't know why. So we just select all this. Keep in mind, you can also paint this. I showed you this in one of the previous lessons by holding down tab and paint the face. So now once you're done with your selection, you can just go back into your hyper shade and now select that brown wood 2, right click and assign material to selection. So now we can just select this, hit on Control 1 to bring that back, and we can go into the object mode and click off. Now you can see we have different shading here, but I think this is too dark somehow. So we're just going to select this and right click, and we're going to graph that. And now we'll come here, we're going to make it lighter a bit and just something like this, so that it's really going to be outstanding from the main from the other one we have. Okay, now we can clear this. Now first, let me just take this out. I think I'm going to put this here. I have something on this other monitor, And okay, let's take a look at this. Now you can see that we have a lot of object in the scene that have something like this. You can just go ahead and do this, and you also get the idea of how to apply the colors. It's just about you going into the hyper shades, because I don't want to bore you with this. It's really going to be annoying repeating this, just like the way we repeat the UV mapping process. And of course, I really don't want to do this. Now you get the idea. You just need to first of all create the AI standard surface shader. From here, create that, select this, make sure you rename it, and select that, select your color, select any color from here. And let's say we want to apply this to the flower, so we're just going to say flower, hit on enter, and we come down to this part here. We can make this a little bit darker, just a bit, not that much. Yeah, that is fine. Now we don't need, we are going to increase the roughness, because this is flower, we don't need any shine. Now you can just select the flower, you select the flowers in your scene, select both of them, and now you can just right click on the flower and hit on assign material to selection, and now you can click off, and you have that here. Now for the one that have multiple colors, you just want to select those faces, and just after creating the shader, you just want to apply that onto those surface, and that is how you can easily just texture this. So I hope to see you guys when you are done texturing your own model, and I'm going to texture mine. Now there's something we need to also take a look at. We have this here, but I'm just going to make this a little bit simplified, and I'm not going to be doing this kind of a drawing here or wherever it is here. We are not going to be doing that. So just take out your time and apply the colors or the texture to all the models you have in your scene. And when you are done, we're going to head over to the lighting, setting of camera, and finally the rendering before we talk about your final project. So see you guys in the next lesson.